The coffee spilled across the marble floor as the office door slammed so violently the walls trembled. Everyone in the executive suite froze. Mira Cole stood in the center of the corridor, files clutched to her chest, heart hammering so hard she could hear it in her ears. Inside the CEO's office, a deep male voice thundered through the glass walls. "Get her in here, now!" No one had to ask who her was. They all looked at Mira. She swallowed. Her palms were shaking. 5 years. 5 years of serving him, 5 years of being invisible. And today, something was very wrong. Her heels felt too loud on the polished floor as she walked toward the door of Adrian Blackwood's office. CEO, billionaire, heir to the Blackwood empire, and the man who had never once looked at her the way he looked at other women. She knocked. "Come in!" The door closed behind her. Adrian stood by the window, phone in hand, jaw clenched so tight a muscle twitched beneath his cheek. He didn't turn around. "You were supposed to send the contracts this morning," he said. "I did," Mira replied carefully. "At 8:03. "Then explain why the Henderson Group just called threatening to pull out of a $3 billion deal." Her heart skipped. "What?" He finally turned. His eyes were cold, sharp, furious. "They never received the attachment." She shook her head. "That's impossible. I double-checked." "Don't argue with me." He slammed the phone on his desk. "You've been making mistakes lately." That cut deeper than it should have. Mira had built this company's systems from the ground up. She had rescued him from scandals, lawsuits, and disasters. She had slept in the office, missed funerals, lost her mother while finalizing a merger. And he said that. Her voice trembled, despite herself. "I didn't make a mistake." "Then where is it?" he snapped. She rushed to his desk, pulled up her sent folder, and turned the screen toward him. "There, sent, received, time-stamped." Adrian stared at the screen. Silence stretched. Something dark flickered in his eyes. Not relief. Fear. Before he could speak, his office door opened without a knock. Vanessa Monroe walked in, the board's golden girl, the woman everyone whispered would soon be Mrs. Blackwood. She smiled too brightly. "Am I interrupting?" Adrian's face changed instantly. His voice softened. "No." Mira felt something in her chest crack. Vanessa's eyes slid toward Mira. "Still here, Secretary?" Mira said nothing. Vanessa stepped closer to Adrian and lowered her voice. "The Henderson Group's IT department found something strange." Adrian's jaw tightened. "What?" "Someone accessed their server this morning, from inside our building." Mira's blood turned to ice. Vanessa's gaze locked on her. "Security logs point to the executive floor," Vanessa said. "And guess whose access code shows up?" Mira's mouth went dry. "That's impossible." Adrian looked at her. For the first time in 5 years, real doubt crossed his face. "You're suspending her?" Vanessa asked softly. Adrian didn't answer. Mira's hands curled into fists. "Sir, I would never—" "Leave us," he said. The words hit harder than a slap. She stared at him. "You don't believe me?" Silence. That was the answer. Mira walked out with her heart in pieces. By noon, she was escorted out of the building. No investigation, no defense, no goodbye. 5 years erased in 10 minutes. That night, she sat alone in her tiny apartment, staring at the termination letter on her table. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "I know what really happened today." Her breath caught. She replied, "Who is this?" A second later. "The man who's been cleaning up your boss's messes for years." Her doorbell rang. Mira froze. She crept to the door and opened it slowly. A tall man in a dark coat stood there, rein on his shoulders, eyes unreadable. "Miss Cole," he said, "I'm Julian Cross." The name hit her like thunder. Julian Cross, the mysterious billionaire investor who had been buying up Blackwood stock quietly for months. "What do you want?" she whispered. "To offer you a job," he said, and a chance at the truth. Her pulse raced. You know I was framed. He nodded. By someone inside that office. Who? He smiled slightly. Let's just say your old boss isn't the only one with secrets. She hesitated. Julian leaned closer. Adrian Blackwood is about to lose everything, and you are the key. Her life changed that night. 3 months later, Mira walked into Cross Industries as Julian's new executive assistant. Different building, different power, different woman. She wore confidence like armor now. Julian watched her from his office window, something dark and dangerous in his gaze. Behind them both, the past waited. And Adrian Blackwood was about to learn what it meant to ignore the womb. If this is gripping you, subscribe, comment, and stay with me. Because the next part brings betrayal, forbidden attraction, and the first crack in the Blackwood empire. 3 months after Mira Cole disappeared from Blackwood Corporation, Adrian Blackwood finally noticed the silence. Not the quiet of an empty office. He had always liked that. It was the kind of silence that crept into his work, his nights, his mind. The files on his desk were disorganized. Meetings started late. Contracts slipped. Small things. But Blackwood Corporation had never been built on small mistakes. Where's the Henderson revision? Adrian snapped. His new assistant flinched. I thought you had it. Adrian slammed the table. Mira always had it. The name escaped his mouth before he could stop it. The room fell still. Vanessa sat across from him, legs crossed, tablet in hand, watching him too closely. You fired her. He rubbed his temple. I suspended her. You escorted her out with security. That was different. He didn't say it. He turned back to the screen, but the numbers blurred. For the first time in years, he wondered if he had made the wrong call. At that exact moment, Mira Cole stepped into Cross Industries. The building was glass and steel, open, alive, no suffocating silence, no tension choking the air. People smiled here. They spoke. Julian Cross walked beside her, his presence steady and commanding. Your office is next to mine. Mira blinked. That's not appropriate. He glanced at her. You were next to Adrian's too. She didn't respond. He stopped at a glass door. Her name was already engraved on it. Mira Cole, executive assistant to the CEO. She inhaled slowly. Julian studied her. You belong here. The words stirred something she had buried deep. Weeks passed. Mira's systems transformed Cross Industries. Julian trusted her with confidential deals, negotiations, board strategies. He listened. Sometimes their eyes met across the room, and something heavy passed between them, something unspoken. One night, long after the building emptied, Mira stood at the window, staring at the city lights. Julian joined her. You okay? She laughed softly. I used to think loyalty was everything. He leaned against the glass. It still is. Then why did it cost me everything? His jaw tightened. Because some men don't deserve it. She turned to him. You sound like you know Adrian well. Julian's eyes darkened. Better than he knows me. Meanwhile, Adrian's world was crumbling. The Henderson deal collapsed. 2 board members resigned. A confidential file leaked to the press. Vanessa swore she had nothing to do with it, but Adrian found something. A hidden email trail, transfers from the Henderson group, Vanessa's private account. His chest tightened. Explain, he demanded. Vanessa's smile didn't reach her eyes. Business is war, Adrian. You framed Mira. She shrugged. You were distracted. You needed me. His hands shook. You destroyed an innocent woman. Vanessa stepped closer. You destroyed her the moment you stopped seeing her. The truth burned. That same week, Julian Cross made his move. He announced the acquisition of Blackwood's largest subsidiary. Adrian read the name and went cold. Cross Industries. He stormed into the emergency board meeting. "We need to counter this." Vanessa leaned in. "We can't." Adrian looked up at the screen. And there she was, Mira, sitting beside Julian Cross, confident, calm, radiant. Their eyes met across the live stream. Something shattered inside him. After the meeting, Adrian didn't hesitate. He drove straight to Cross Industries. Security tried to stop him. "I'm Adrian Blackwood," he barked. Mira stepped out of the elevator and froze, their eyes locked. The room disappeared. "Mira," he breathed. She straightened. "You're not authorized here." His chest tightened at her tone. "We need to talk." Julian appeared behind her. "She's busy." Adrian's gaze flicked to him. "This is between me and my secretary." Julian's voice was calm. "She's my executive assistant now." Mira didn't look at Adrian. "What do you want?" His voice dropped. "I made a mistake." She finally faced him. "You ended my career." His throat tightened. "I believed the wrong person." "You believed yourself." Julian placed a hand lightly on her back. Adrian noticed. His jaw clenched. "You working for him now?" Mira said quietly. "He values me." The words hit like a blade. Adrian stared at Julian. "Stay out of this." Julian's eyes were cold. "You already pushed her into my world?" Mira turned to Julian. "I'll handle this." She stepped closer to Adrian. "Apologizing doesn't undo what you did." "I know," he whispered. "But I never stopped thinking about you." Her breath hitched. She stepped back. "You never thought of me at all." She walked away. Adrian stood there, helpless. Outside, the war had begun. If this chapter pulled you in, subscribe, comment, and stay with me. Because in the next part, Buried Secrets surface, Julian's past collides with Adrian's, and Mira will learn the truth about the night her life was destroyed. Adrian did not sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Mira standing beside Julian Cross, her face calm, distant, unreachable. He had spent years believing she would always be there, that the world he controlled would never change. He had been wrong. The next morning, his investigation into Vanessa's financial records deepened. What he uncovered made his blood run cold. Shell companies, hidden accounts, private communication with a third party. One name kept appearing in the encrypted threads. Cross. Julian Cross. The realization slammed into him like a wrecking ball. Julian hadn't just hired Mira. Julian had been planning this for years. At Cross Industries, Mira felt the pressure building around her. Julian had become quieter, more guarded. His phone never left his hand. Sometimes his eyes darkened when he looked at her, like he was carrying a storm behind his ribs. She confronted him one evening when the office was nearly empty. "Julian, what is really happening between you and Adrian?" His fingers tightened around the edge of his desk. "You don't want that story." "Try me." He studied her face, then finally said, "He destroyed my family." Her heart skipped. "How?" "Blackwood Corporation buried evidence that would have saved my father from prison. He died there." Silence swallowed the room. Mira whispered, "I'm so sorry." Julian's voice lowered. "I didn't come for revenge. I came for justice. But then I met you." Something fragile and dangerous passed between them. That same night, Adrian received a message. Unknown. "Meet me if you want the full truth about Mira's firing." He went. The woman who met him was pale, nervous. A former IT contractor. She slid him a drive. "Vanessa paid me to reroute the Henderson files. She used Mira's access code." Adrian's hands shook. He had destroyed the one person who never betrayed him. He drove to Cross Industries again, this time without pride, without armor. Mira stepped into the lobby and froze when she saw him. He walked toward her, eyes burning. "I have proof. You were framed." Her breath hitched. Julian appeared beside her instantly. Adrian held up the drive. This changes everything. Mira stared at it. Her voice was barely a whisper. Why now? Because I finally understand what I did to you. Julian's gaze hardened. You don't get to rewrite the past. Mira looked between them, torn. Adrian said quietly, I trusted the wrong woman, and I lost the only one who mattered. The words broke something in her chest. She stepped back. I can't go back to who I was. I'm not asking you to. Julian's hand brushed hers. Adrian noticed. That night, Mira couldn't sleep. She remembered every late night in Adrian's office, every time she had protected him, every silent sacrifice. And she remembered how Julian had stood beside her when the world fell apart. By morning, she made her choice. She stayed. But fate wasn't finished. Vanessa was arrested. The news exploded. Blackwood stock collapsed, and the press uncovered something darker. Julian Cross's father had not simply been imprisoned. He had been murdered. The truth surged through the city. 2 men, 1 woman, and a past that refused to stay buried. If this story has you holding your breath, subscribe and comment. Because the final chapter is where everything breaks, everything burns, and everything is decided. The city woke to chaos. Headlines screamed betrayal, corruption, murder, conspiracy. Blackwood Corporation's stock plummeted. Board members vanished. Vanessa Monroe's arrest sent shockwaves through every financial district in the country. But none of that compared to what was coming next. Mira arrived at Cross Industries before sunrise. She hadn't slept. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Journalists, unknown numbers, threats, offers. She ignored them all and went straight to Julian's office. He was already there, standing by the window, jaw clenched. You saw the report, she said. He nodded. They finally connected my father's case to Blackwood's cover-up. Her chest tightened. Adrian didn't know. Julian turned slowly. He benefited from it. That doesn't make him the villain. Julian's eyes darkened. It makes him responsible. Silence fell between them, heavy with everything they hadn't said. Mira, he began. She cut in softly. I need the whole truth, Julian, not pieces, not strategy, all of it. His shoulders dropped. Adrian's father and mine were partners. When my father refused to sign off on falsified reports, Blackwood Sr. buried him. Adrian inherited the company and the lie. Tears burned her eyes. So everything that happened to me was the final domino, Julian said. Vanessa was only the tool. Before she could respond, Adrian walked into the building. Security tried to stop him. He brushed past them. He found Mira standing in the corridor between 2 worlds. Their eyes locked. She whispered, Why are you here? He answered, To confess. Julian appeared beside her. Confess somewhere else. Adrian didn't move his eyes from Mira. I didn't know about our fathers, I swear it. But I know about you. I know what I did to you. And I will spend the rest of my life fixing it if you let me. Her voice shook. You broke me. He swallowed hard. I know. Julian's fists clenched. You don't get redemption. Adrian finally looked at him. Neither do you. The room crackled with tension. Mira stepped between them. Stop. They did. She looked at Adrian. I loved you once. His breath hitched. And you taught me what silence feels like, she continued. But you also taught me how strong I could be without you. She turned to Julian. And you taught me what it means to be seen. Julian's eyes softened. Mira inhaled. I choose my future. Both men waited. She said, I choose myself. The words fell like thunder. Adrian closed his eyes. Julian released a breath. That night, Adrian resigned. Blackwood Corporation fractured. Lawsuits erupted. His family name collapsed under the weight of the truth. Julian Cross took control of the subsidiary. His father's name was cleared. Justice, at last. Weeks passed. Mira moved into her own apartment overlooking the river. New life, new strength. One evening, she stood on the balcony when a message appeared on her phone. From Adrian, I'm leaving the country. I hope one day you'll forgive me. From Julian, dinner? No agendas, just you and me. She looked out at the lights of the city that had nearly broken her and smiled. She replied only once. To Julian. Yes. Some loves come too late, some lessons cost everything, and some women rise from the ashes stronger than anyone ever expected. The secretary he ignored had become another man's desire, and the CEO learned the truth when it was already too late. I'm building this channel one story at a time, and you are part of that journey. If you believe in what I'm creating here, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and stay with me for the next chapter of secrets, power, and unstoppable women. Your support keeps me going, and I truly appreciate you.